I still remember the exact sound of my mother's laughter, soft, cracked, but warm, even when she was in pain. For the longest time, I believed my sister Naomi was a saint for taking care of her. While I was busy working in another city, trying to pay the bills, she was the one who stayed home, cooked mom's meals, gave her medicine, and posted those heartwarming Facebook photos about family love and sacrifice. Everyone praised her. Everyone said, "You're lucky to have a sister like her, Daniel." And I believed them. God, I really did. When mom passed, it broke me. The doctor said it was a stroke, sudden and irreversible. I didn't even make it in time to say goodbye. Naomi called me, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. She said mom went peacefully, that she held her hand until the very last breath. At the funeral, Naomi was the picture of grief, pale, trembling, holding mom's rosary like it was her own heart. She cried harder than anyone. Even I had to hold her upright when her knees buckled at the grave. People looked at me with admiration, telling me how lucky I was to have a sister who loved mom that much. And so, when the will was read a week later, I didn't even blink. Mom had left Naomi almost everything. The house, the savings, even her jewelry. I got a small plot of land back in our hometown. Naomi apologized, pretending to feel guilty. Mom wanted me to have it since I was the one who stayed with her, she said through tears. I hugged her, told her it was fine, told her mom probably just wanted to thank her for taking care of her. I remember even saying, "You deserve it, Naomi. If only I knew." 2 weeks after the funeral, I got a call from Dr. Patel, mom's physician. He asked if I could come to the hospital for a follow-up. I told him mom had already passed, but he hesitated before replying. "I know," he said softly, "but there's something you should see." My stomach dropped. His tone was wrong, careful, heavy, like someone stepping around broken glass. When I got there, he closed the blinds, turned off the hallway light, and placed a folder on the desk. Inside were copies of mom's lab results, and they didn't make sense. Her blood work showed a spike in potassium levels and traces of something else, a drug that wasn't part of her prescribed medication. "Your mother was taking something she shouldn't have been," he said, his voice low. "Something strong enough to stop a heart if used repeatedly." My head spun. I told him that was impossible. Naomi handled all the meds. The doctor sighed, then slid his phone toward me. "I didn't want to believe it either," he said, "but the nurse in charge of the night shift remembered something strange. We checked the CCTV footage from the hospital's pharmacy room. Your sister came in there late at night, twice, alone, no authorization." I stared at the screen as the video played, grainy but clear enough. There she was, Naomi, in her oversized hoodie, sneaking into the medication room, her hands shaking as she filled a small vial. She looked over her shoulder, then slipped it into her purse. The timestamp? 2 nights before mom's stroke. My body went cold. I remember laughing, but it wasn't real laughter, more like something that broke out of me, because it couldn't stay inside. That can't be her," I said. But even as I said it, I knew it was. I'd recognize her posture, her hair, that nervous twitch she always had when she lied. The doctor looked at me with pity. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I wish I didn't have to tell you this. I can't confirm intent, but I think you deserve to know." When I left his office, it felt like the world had shifted under my feet. Everything I thought I knew, my sister's love, her sacrifice, her tears, all of it twisted into something dark and rotten. I went back to mom's house that night. The same house Naomi now lived in. She was in the living room watching TV, wrapped in mom's blanket, eating popcorn like nothing ever happened. She smiled when she saw me, that fake soft smile that used to make me feel safe. "Hey, you came by," she said cheerfully. "Want some tea?" I just stood there, staring at her, fighting the urge to ask her what she did, fighting the urge to scream. I forced a smile. "Yeah," I said, "I'd love some tea." That night, as she brewed the tea in mom's favorite pot, I realized something horrifying. She'd probably done it here too, right in this kitchen. Same pot, same counter, same smile. I didn't drink the tea, but I made sure she thought I did, and that's when my plan started to form. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the dark guest room of mom's house, staring at the ceiling, listening to every sound Naomi made downstairs, every creak of the floorboard, every faint laugh from the television she left running, every sound of her moving around the kitchen. It all sounded like a ghost whispering the truth in my ear. At around midnight, I heard the front door click open. I moved quietly to the window and watched her from behind the curtain. She was walking toward the back of the garden, still in her pajamas, carrying a small flashlight and a box I recognized. It was mom's old medicine chest. She was digging something behind the shed. That was the moment I stopped wondering if she did it. I started wondering why. The next morning she acted like nothing happened, made breakfast, humming to herself, asked if I slept well. I said I did. Then I asked if she'd mind me staying a few days, told her I was still grieving, that being in Mom's house made me feel close to her again. She smiled, touched my hand gently and said, "Of course, stay as long as you need." I smiled back, and right then I knew she had no idea that I knew. Over the next few days, I started piecing everything together quietly. I went through old medical receipts, found that Mom's prescriptions had been changed 2 months before her death, something Naomi could have done easily since she handled everything. I also noticed that Mom's insurance policy had a clause that awarded her caretaker an additional payout upon her passing. The signature on the amendment? Naomi's handwriting, forged into Mom's. It was brilliant, in a way that made my skin crawl. She'd played the long game, manipulating sympathy, controlling access, keeping me far away with guilt, and all while slowly poisoning the woman who gave us life. One evening, I found her in Mom's room, going through a drawer. I asked what she was looking for. "Just Mom's old prayer cards," she said softly. "They still smell like her perfume." I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her and ask why, but I didn't. I just stood there, nodded and said, "I miss her too." That night when she went to sleep, I went to the backyard. The air was cold and wet, the earth still damp from the rain. I found the spot she'd been digging and used a small spade to dig deeper. A few inches down, I hit something hard, plastic, the box. Inside were empty vials, some with faded labels, others completely unmarked. A faint chemical smell burned my nose, and at the bottom there was a small notebook, Mom's handwriting, weak and shaky. The last entry was dated 2 weeks before she died. "Naomi says the new medicine makes me tired, but it's supposed to help my heart. I trust her. She says Daniel worries too much. I don't want to be a burden." I sat there in the dirt, the night pressing against my chest like a weight, reading that line over and over until the ink blurred through my tears. That was when I realized Naomi hadn't just killed Mom, she'd made her believe it was love. The next morning, I called Dr. Patel, told him I wanted to pursue an investigation quietly. He said the hospital would cooperate if we had proof, but we'd need something conclusive, something to show intent, not just suspicion. So I made a plan. For the next week, I became the perfect brother again. I helped Naomi fix the garden fence, went grocery shopping with her, even laughed at her jokes. She relaxed around me, thinking everything was fine. I watched her closely, her expressions, her tone, her little habits. And then one night, I left a letter on the kitchen counter, addressed to Mom. I knew Naomi couldn't resist snooping. In that letter, I wrote that I had found something strange in Mom's old medicine chest, that I was planning to take it to the police first thing in the morning. Then I waited. At 2:47 a.m., I heard movement, slow footsteps, a faint clink of the back door unlocking. I quietly turned on my phone camera, set it behind the curtain, and recorded. Through the sliver of light from the hallway, I saw her go out to the garden again. She was breathing heavily this time, digging fast, pulling something out of the ground and wrapping it in a black bag. I could hear her whispering to herself, frantic, panicked. And then, as she turned to head back inside, I stepped out onto the porch. She froze. The flashlight beam caught my face, and the look in her eyes, terror, guilt, shock, confirmed everything. "Naomi," I said softly, "what are you doing out here?" She stammered, "I dropped something earlier." I walked closer. That something wouldn't happen to be a few empty vials, would it? Her face drained of color. "Daniel, listen, you don't understand." "No," I interrupted. "I understand perfectly. You killed Mom." She shook her head, crying, clutching the bag against her chest. "It wasn't like that. You were never here. You don't know how hard it was. She wanted to go peacefully. I just helped her." Her words sliced through me like knives. The twisted justification, the fake tears, the attempt to paint herself as merciful. It made me sick. I pulled out my phone and showed her the recording, still running. Her eyes widened as she realized I'd caught everything. "I already sent a copy to Dr. Patel," I said. "He's sending it to the authorities right now." She dropped to her knees, begging, grabbing at my legs, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, Daniel, I didn't mean to. Please don't ruin my life." I looked down at her, the same woman who'd stolen our mother's last breath for money, and whispered, "You ruined mine the day you decided hers didn't matter." I turned and walked back inside, leaving her in the dirt with the evidence of her sins. By morning, the police were there. They found the vials, the notebook, everything. Naomi was arrested without a word. She didn't even look at me as they led her away. But before she got into the car, she said something under her breath, something that almost broke me all over again. "She still loved you more, Daniel." I stood there, watching the car disappear down the road, and for the first time in months, The weight in my chest began to lift. Mom finally had her justice. And as I sat on the porch that night, with the cool wind brushing against my face, I realized something. Revenge wasn't always about rage or blood. Sometimes the sweetest revenge was simply letting the truth speak louder than the lies. But even now, sometimes when the house is quiet, I swear I can still hear Mom's voice. And I hope, wherever she is, she knows. I finally kept my promise.